All right, so cement board, really important to waterproof this. You know, this stuff is just simply water resistant and is actually your substrate for your waterproofing your tile. If you want a long lasting shower, you definitely need the waterproof. I'm not saying that you can't just tile over this. People have been doing that for decades. But again, if you want it long lasting, you want to waterproof it, especially in a curbless shower situation. So what we're going to be doing is a liquid waterproofing. So this is Ardex 8+9. It's a very simple process to actually roll this on. And in a lot of ways, the liquid waterproofing is probably one of the most foolproof way of waterproofing, because you're literally just painting it on and making sure that you get everything completely waterproof. But before we do that, we're going to use some feather finish just to fill in, just kind of like you do drywall. We're going to fill in some of the bigger gaps with this, and we're also going to make sure that our shower floor is nice and sloped as well. So if you were new to mud beds, you might have had an issue with getting your mud bed completely even, and this is a great way to patch that. But I'm going to fill in some of these bigger gaps that I have on my cement board. Not too many, but just enough to be able to fill it in so that when I do the liquid waterproofing, I don't have any issues. Okay, that's about all we need. We don't really need that much. But what's great about this stuff is that it dries within about 20 minutes. So I have a nice big gap right here. I'm just going to fill in. And really anywhere else that I see pretty sizable gaps. So right along my niche here. So I have about almost a ½ inch gap there. So I'll just fill that in. This is just going to make it easier to actually apply that liquid waterproofing and make sure that you don't have any uneven spots. And I have another chunk out of this cement board right here. Now you could use a mesh tape over this as well. That would strengthen it quite a bit. So you could do that, but honestly, we're going to be doing a waterproofing membrane on top of it, so it won't be 100% necessary. So the other thing you want to do is just check your shower pan. So if you didn't have an excellent execution of your shower pan, this is a great way to go ahead and patch any divots or anything that you might have, you know, if you had a bird's bath, you know, some kind of a low spot before your drain, you can always just fill this up. You honestly could skim the entire shower pan if you really wanted to. So what's great about it is that it doesn't require any primer. You can just go straight over the concrete surface or plywood, and you know, basically just a patch material. So really easy to use. I really don't have much wrong with my, I'm just going to fill in this little divot maybe right here, just kind of smooth it out a little bit. But I'm fairly happy with my, might as well just go all the way around here, make this nice and so that's the big thing. I mean, if you didn't go perfectly on your floor, you can always patch it in. So very versatile with the mortar beds. You have plenty of chances to be able to get it right. But we have a nice, really good flow here, slope, and we're going to be able to start waterproofing this in about a ½ an hour or so. It did take a little bit longer than a ½ an hour to get this to be dry. So make sure you allot yourself some time if you're actually going to fill in these areas. But a couple things you want to get in addition for your shower, and one is the membrane. This is to go around the corners of your shower, along with just a regular standard roller with a 3/8 inch nap roller, a 4-inch brush, and some gloves. You don't really want to have this stuff all over you. I most likely will have it all over me by the time I'm done. But one thing about Ardex that I really like using this liquid waterproofing is that it dries in about an hour, hour and a half, and you go ahead and put your second coat on. So unlike other brands like Red Guard and other liquid waterproofings that come in a pail that's already pre-mixed, they take a lot longer to dry. This is going to go set up a lot faster. It also means you have to work a little bit quicker too. You only get about a ½ hour's worth of pot life of spreading this. So once you get started, don't take a break, get everything done. And I'm just going to take my 4-inch brush and paint the surface. And just basically coat right over that. Make sure you have enough underneath it here for it to bond. We're going to do the same thing on this seam between the drywall and the ceiling. And don't worry about, you know, basically overhanging the drywall. If anything's overhanging after the tile, you know, you could just use a drywall button and feather that over.
Lines everywhere.
Yeah. So where these boards meet, it would feel like a thin set after this dries, so you could technically just leave that. But this is going to be a better seam here, is using the board tape. Make sure that kind of stays flat as you can. Keep this stuff flat. Okay, so on this section, I'd recommend going all the way across this entrance. Since this is a curbless shower, I find this to be an important aspect of waterproofing. It has to go all the way across here. So that's a really critical area. It's like right here at the entrance of the shower. So that everything's waterproof, and we'll do the same thing on this other side. At least got the shower area done. The outside floor isn't quite as important. Okay, so that takes care of our first coat, essentially. Now, you do hog up a lot when you actually put those seams on there. That definitely takes up a lot of additional product. It's supposed to cover about 100 square feet. This is obviously not, what is this, 437? This is about a 100 square foot shower. So I used, you know, what they say, it's 200 square feet of the stuff. But that's mainly because of embedding all of this. If you would have just went straight over the cement board, you would have gotten a lot further. It does feel like those rhino liners that you put in your trucks. It feels like that because it's like such a, it's not rubber, but it just has such a thick, strong coating. So there's no doubt that this is definitely a stronger type of material than a lot of the other liquid waterproofings that you can get. And I really do feel like it's the difference between a two-part like epoxy and just like a regular grout. it's definitely going to be stronger being a 2-part epoxy. So this is some bulletproof stuff for sure. So with these little rubber gaskets. All right, so now we're 100% waterproof. This also acts as kind of an isolation membrane, so it's separating the towel from the actual floor leveler, which kind of gives it a little bit more stability. And yeah, I think you're good on one coat on the outside floor. Depends on how crazy you want to go. I mean, you can obviously do another coat on the entire floor, but being curbless, it is important to get everything waterproof. So if any water seeped through the thin set layer, you'll be in good shape. But this is an excellent product. It'll definitely be a good foundation for your tile.